Hello everyone, my name's Cliff and welcome back to my channel. This is Cliff's Dark Gems. And if you're new here, welcome for the first time. Today we're going to do a tag. And this is going to be the reader profile tag. And it was created by Library Be Green. Hope I'm getting that correct. I'll put it down below. And I was tagged by the Mild Rumpus. Awesome channel. And I'll link him down below as well. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Okay, this tag is very interesting and it looks at my kind of profile of reading, the way I think about reading. And yeah, there's 10-11 prompts, so let's get to them. The first one is, what for you makes a good book? Now I'm going to just say the obvious: good writing, good characters, great setting. But for me the most important thing is that it's kind of got to grab you to a certain point from the get-go. So that you are grabbed into the story, you're brought into the story, you're intrigued, that you're engaged, even if it's a slow burn story where the point is to slowly build up tension, build the atmosphere. You still need to kind of be invested more or less from the beginning, otherwise you kind of lose interest, and then that's going to carry forward into the book as well. So it's got to have some good characters at the beginning, a kind of good hook. And then it's got to maintain that so that your level of engagement either stays the same or is increased. And yeah, that's not what makes an absolutely outstanding book, it goes beyond that. But then just what makes a good book is that the ability to grab you in and hold your attention and keep you engaged. Yeah, so that's my question one, prompt one. Okay, prompt number two is, what are you currently reading? I'm currently reading Stephen King, Holly. I've just started it, so I'm not even going to show you where I am. So it's really just right at the beginning. And I'm doing this, and it's my final step. It's our final step as a reading group, all about Holly. So we've read all the Mr. Mercedes trilogy. We read The Outsider, we read If It Bleeds. And now finally we're at the final hurdle, the novel Holly. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to get stuck in with this tonight. So yeah, that's Holly. Prompt number 3 says, what is the last book you didn't finish and why? Okay, I didn't finish Scared Stiff, Tales of Sex and Death by Ramsey Campbell. Because I read like one story and I just really was not into it. I was not in the mood. I think Ramsey Campbell has a specific style, a specific way of writing, that you kind of have to be in the mood for his writing. It's kind of more slow, I wouldn't say the word atmospheric, but yeah, I kind of fell asleep on that. And I wouldn't say I DNF'd it, because I like to use the term, I shelved it for another date, for when I'm in the mood. So I will get back to that volume at some stage. That is Tales of Sex and Death. Okay, prompt number 4. I think that's right, yeah. What obscure book do you wish other people would read? Now, I mentioned this a few times on my channel. It's a horror novel, it's a horror author that needs more recognition, and that is Mark Morris, Toady. And I wouldn't say it's completely obscure, although if you look at Goodreads, yeah, not so many ratings as you would expect from a book that is as awesome as this book. It gives off serious It vibes. It's just beautiful world building, incredible characters. I've heard of one or two other booktubers that prefer this to it, to be honest. So yeah, it needs more attention. And it's an awesome book. That is Toady. Okay, number 5 says, what is the longest book you've ever read? Now initially I said it, and I'm actually incorrect. The longest book I've ever read is The Stand. For the first time, the complete and uncut version. And my very old, very loved, very kind of stuck together version, one of the first books I ever kind of bought, possibly the first book I ever bought. And this comes in at over 1,400 pages. I don't know how many books are longer, don't care, but this was a beautiful book. And I loved every 1,400 pages. Despite people saying it's too long or there's too much filler, I enjoyed it. Okay, prompt number 6 is a fun one. It's a good one. If you could have dinner with 5 fictional characters, who would they be? Now, I thought long and hard about this, and I haven't just got 5 characters. I've got 5 characters. We're having dinner. I have a chef, and I have something for our entertainment and amusement. So let me start, first of all, with the 5 characters. Now, the first one is a character in a book I'm going to come up with later again. That's it. Nice big book here, Dragonlance Trilogy. And yeah, there's a character called Taz, almost like a hobbit, a kender, very, very small, always full of mischief and fun, and you don't really want to leave your belongings around because he's curious and you might lose your belongings, but it doesn't mean to steal. Just that's the kind of character he is. The whole point is he's a lot of fun, and he's always mischievous, and he always gets up to trouble. So you want a little bit of that at a dinner party, don't you? Okay, and then second of all, we've got Roland. Okay, now Roland from the Dark Tower series, he will be sitting to my left, and I'll tell you why shortly. Because yeah, he's a gunslinger, and he'll have tales to tell. Is that right? Tales to tell? About the old world and about Midcamia, and yeah, he's full of stories and very amazing character, and I'd love to have him along. And then I would like to have Sister from Swan Song. I adore Sister as a character, and she's tough, and she's so interesting, and she can tell us about what the world would look like if there was a nuclear holocaust, and she can tell us about her backstory, and tragic as it is, some of the stories, things that you went through during the nuclear holocaust. And then number 4, I'll have Pug, who is a powerful magician from the book Magician. And we're going to need him for protection from, I'm going to tell you what just now. But also he's a wealth of knowledge, and he'll have a lot of interesting tales to tell. And then we're going to have Jake Epping from 11/22/63 by Stephen King. A favourite character of mine, and he can reminisce a bit about the 50s and the 60s. And his experiences during time travel. That could be quite fun. But of course we need a chef as well. We need a chef, and who better to ask than Hannibal Lecter. I can be our chef, but that's why I've got characters like Roland to keep him underhand, you know. If he wants to start nonsense with his cannibal stuff, then yeah, we don't want that. And maybe you want some entertainment, and I was thinking Pennywise from It. And now that's why we've got Pug, the most powerful magician that's ever existed. He can create a barrier around us having dinner, so that this clown, even though he changes completely to people's fears, he could just be entertainment and he can't get to us. So yeah, that would be my dinner party, strange as it is. Prompt number 7 is, what 5 books would you want stranded on a desert island? That's a very interesting one. And the person who actually tagged me in this video, what's his name? The Rumpus? Wampa Rumpus? Come on dude, what is your name? Oh, the Mild Rumpus, sorry. Yeah, he had a very interesting answer for this one, because he assumed that if you're stranded on a desert island, you're going to need kind of books that will tell you how to survive. My problem with that is you don't know what kind of desert island it is. And as an ex-field guide, if I knew it was some kind of island inhabited by African creatures, snakes, things, whatever, then I'll take a sort of field guide to that, although I really need it. But if it's just a desert island, then yeah, so it all depends on the circumstance, depends on where the desert island is. So I'm just talking to you, Mild Rumpus. That's my take on it. The one thing I did agree with you though, and the one book I would take, is, as you said, the largest dictionary, or the largest book that you could possibly find. Because you kind of need toilet paper, don't you? You know, you run out of toilet paper, it's not going to be comfortable. So that'll be my first book. Second off, I don't want to take all horror, because it's kind of an experience. You want some light-hearted reading. I mean, who wants to be stranded on a desert island, dying of thirst or hunger, getting sunburnt, and only reading horror. Not me, thank you. So that's where I'd sort of kind of go into some light stuff. Maybe the heaviest would be Weevil by Clive Barker, nice and long, and just enough to keep my imagination flowing. Another one would be a book I mentioned earlier, and that would be Dragonlance, also fantasy, light-hearted, just fun stuff with dragons and all that. Keep my imagination going over time. And then I thought, why not some comic books? Something like, hey, The Far Side. Light-hearted entertainment. I've got another Far-Sighted here. Hey, there's a fly in my soup. Or you could go with something like Calvin and Hobbes and other stuff like that. So yeah, that would be my response. Because if you're dying of thirst, you don't really want something light-hearted to go along the way. Yeah. Okay, so that's my answer to that. Okay, number 8, and I'm not going to put them up here. I can't find them, they're somewhere back there. What is one book that you could not put down? And look, I'm going to give 2. One very long one, that was Swan Song, over 1,000 pages, around about 1,000 pages, and I read it in 2.5 days. Enough said. Other book was Intensity by Dean Koontz. I read that in one sitting. A shorter book, but still long enough to be kind of impressive. It was that tense, it was that intense, it was that exciting. Just kind of read it in one go. Okay, I don't really like the next prompt so much. But yeah, I'm going to try and answer as best I can. And that is, what are 5 books or authors you will never read? My thing is never say never. You never really know. But at this stage right now, I don't think I'll ever read anything by Stephanie Meyer. Twilight, I think she wrote another series as well. That's just not my bag. That's just not my cup of tea. And then also 50 Shades of Grey, which I've got somewhere, which I inherited. I don't see myself, I'm not into S&M. I don't really see myself reading too many full-on erotic novels or stories. Maybe during August, I might go back on that promise, but we'll have to see. As for other things, I don't like politics. Of course, I'm not going to read American politics. I'm South African. So there's certain themes I'd never read anything about. But yeah, that's just me. And never say never. And prompt number 10, if you were to write a book, what would it be about? I kind of started writing a short story and I failed miserably. But I'm going to start again. I promise. I'm going to start again. And I'm not going to tell you too much about what the book is about, because that's a secret. And if I ever do release it, yeah, I want it to be something fresh and new. All I know is that it started. It's going to be a horror story, don't you worry about that. But it started with a man crawling in the desert that doesn't know his name, doesn't know anything about who he is, and he's beaten up. And all he knows is that he has to crawl to a certain destination. And that is his sole purpose. And he has to get to this destination. Which could be a cave, could be something at the top of the next dune. Don't know. But I'm not going to say anything more. Because one day I'm going to write this short story. Which might even turn into a novel. You never know. So that is number 10. Okay, number 11 is to tag some people. Now I'm just going to tag 2 people here off the top of my head. Gareth at Book Songs and Other Magic. And Farah at Bookstalgic. Both your awesome channels, and you are it. And of course, anyone else who wants to do this tag, feel free. It's fun, it's supposed to be enjoyable. So yeah, go for it. But everyone, I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. And take care of yourselves. Until next time, keep those pages turning, and cheers.